What's up, everybody? Welcome to my man cave, or as I should say, man jungle. Today I'm going to be doing a reptile room tour slash this is also where I game, so I'll give you a little tour. Stick around. Starting up top here, we got Squirt, the green tree python, who I recently learned is actually a female. She's about 4 years old, almost fully green by now, but still a little bit yellow sprinkled in there. Looking great. The one snake that I have that you can always see. One of the cool thing about her is that she's got removable perches in her enclosure, so I can take her out if I need to clean it or get at it or anything else, and take the whole perch out. The green tree pythons are fully arboreal. They like to snatch things right off of either branches or flying by. And then they utilize gravity when they feed. They feed straight up, unlike most other snake species that kind of slowly eat across the ground. These guys tilt their bodies up and eat upwards. Some fun facts about green tree pythons. They come from pretty much everywhere over Southeast Asia and Northern Australia. They pretty much spend their whole lives in the trees. When they're babies, they either start out as bright yellow or bright red. That's to ward off predators, to be seen as almost venomous or poisonous, and then as they get older, they slowly turn green so that they can blend in more with their environment and become better hunters. So just put the hooks in right there, and it fits right back into these perches. Here we got Donnie the Doomeral's boa, who is in shed, so the colors aren't looking quite as poppy as usual. Usually has some great oranges or pinkish salmon on top. You can see that it's about to shed from the eyes right there. See how they're kind of clouded over and almost bluish. These guys are a ground boa species from the island of Madagascar off the coast of Africa. They do not like to climb whatsoever. They are strictly ground boas. They'll spend their whole lives on the ground. Fun fact about boas, they do not lay eggs. They give live birth. The eggs actually hatch inside the body of the female, and they're just born straight into the world, not out of an egg. Donnie likes to spend most of his time buried underneath his wood chips, his cocoa fiber chips, and doesn't appear to want to be going back in yet. Up in order here is the gaming station. This is where all the real work gets done. Right beneath this awesome wood sign made by my future mother-in-law. Olympic Exotics is actually my Instagram page where you can see all of my reptile and pet stuff. So she made this handcrafted for me out of wood. It looks amazing, so thank you, Jenny. The desk here is huge, oversized, made by my brother, who is very talented also in the woodworking. Got the stickers on the PC. Some great ones, especially these ones here, made by my good friend's girlfriend. Got my two Pikachus, and cannot forget the snacks in the corner here. Cool wall decal. Moving over here, we have a crocheted ball python, actually made by one of the Husker high jumpers, Brooklyn. Made that for me based off of one of my snakes that we'll get to in a bit. Next up is my smallest snake that I have. This is my Hognose snake, which are actually native to the United States. They got a little pig nose in the front of their snout that they use for digging through dirt and looking for things to eat. Underneath here, oh, you can see her popping out right there in the corner. Just wondering if she's getting fed. Do you have anything to say? as you can hear, she's got a lot to say. Completely harmless. She gets a little pissy when she gets taken out sometime. But yeah, completely harmless. They sometimes will do fake strikes at you where they don't even open up their mouth. They'll just kind of headbutt you, just try to scare you off. They're also known for playing dead, where they'll lay belly up and emit a very smelly smell out of them to make predators leave them alone. Hognose snakes are also rear fang venomous, so they actually do have venom. It's just unlike a viper or a cobra where the fangs are, you know, right up front and can reach out at you. They're more towards the back of their jaw. So if they were to just, you know, if you were to just let her chew on you for a little bit without even moving, she might be able to envenom you a little bit. It would feel like a very mild bee sting, but I've never been bit by her. Not really an issue if you just don't let them chew on you for a while. Down from Hermione the Hognose's cage, we have Glenn, the Leachianus gecko, which is also known as the world's largest gecko species. She's usually right back here. I know that she's a she because I found a non-fertilized egg in the soil in her enclosure, which was pretty crazy to find. These guys come from the island of New Caledonia, which is in the southern Pacific. It's pretty close to New Zealand and Australia, known for its incredible biodiversity of animals, especially its reptiles and geckos. Crested geckos, gargoyle geckos, Chahua geckos, they're all from the same islands. They're also known for their ability to jump. You can see they have the sticky toe pads, and they also have little claws to help them climb. Another thing that's lesser known about these geckos is they actually have a sticky toe pad on their tail, which they use for climbing. As you can see, she's kind of just got me wrapped up there. Eat a mixture of fruit and bug paste, and they'll happily lap that up. They just lick it up with their tongue like it's nectar. She lives in a bioactive enclosure, meaning that she's got a bunch of little bugs that live in the soil and eat her poop and help clean up after her. Over here we have my carpet python, Hawkeye, hence named for the colors of the Iowa Hawkeyes, hiding out in its, I don't know if it's a male or a female, but hiding out in its human hide, so I'm going to have to get it out of there. So this is Hawkeye, hence the color. Awesome patterns on their head. It is a Irian carpet python coming from the island of Irian. I don't know exactly where that is. It's somewhere in the Pacific. Great pattern and coloration on it. Super calm guy. Never has had an issue with me picking him up. Great climber too, so I like to give a combination of places to climb and other places to hide, and plenty of ground space in its enclosure. I have my fattest snake in the house, Gimli, the Borneo short-tailed python. Little do you know, you can actually train snakes a little bit with hooks. That's why you see a lot of snake keepers using them. It just creates that additional space between you and the snake, but more importantly, it lets the snake know that it's not feeding time if I'm touching it all over, kind of just rubbing its body. It doesn't really like that, as you can see from the twitches, but it lets it know that I'm not feeding it. I do not want the snake to think I'm about to feed it, and when I stick my hand in, it thinks it's a rat and it'll strike right away. So this kind of just lets it know you're not about to be fed, you're about to be handled. Fat Borneo short-tailed python. They get the name short-tailed python because compared to other snakes, they just got a little short, tiny little tail right there. He's a big boy. When I got him, he was very malnourished, a little bit, I don't want to say neglected, but not very well taken care of by the previous owners, so got him to a healthy weight now. I like to call the short-tailed pythons poop snakes because while they're, you know, very heavy-bodied snakes, they only poop about 2 to 3 times a year. And when they do, it is huge. They retain all of that poop in their body, and scientists don't really understand why. One of the reasons they think is because it kind of creates, that extra weight creates an anchor for it, so that when it strikes its prey, it has something to push against. So when they do poop, it is absolutely massive. Directly below, we have my pied ball python named Manny. Manny's an absolute sweetheart. She's looking a little paler than usual because she's about to go into shed. I don't know all of the genetic jargon, but she's called pied because, or piebald, because she's missing pigment in these little white spots that are all over her body, and it makes for a very cool looking pattern. Ball pythons natively come from Central Africa, where they like to hang out in termite mounds, searching for the mice and rats that occupy them. Over here I have a little collection of some of my trophies I've earned through track over the years. I just have them here because I don't really know where else to put them. Moving into our final 3 enclosures over here, we have blue-tongued skink named Irwin, after the iconic Steve Irwin, and being from Australia, couldn't think of a more fitting name. Down here we have Tony, the boa constrictor, and then finally Ozzy, the olive python. Irwin is also always a little pissy coming out, a little huffy, very similar to Hermione. But this is the blue-tongued skink. So here, he, she, it is, I don't know. Never was able to find out what sex this little guy is. But you can see that awesome blue tongue coming out. Probably a little scared of heights, so I'm gonna put him back in his cage to run around. These guys are nature's dumpsters in Australia. They eat whatever they can find, completely opportunistic eaters, whether that's birds' eggs or other reptiles' eggs, roadkill, any dead animal they come across, bugs, anything, they'll eat it. Next up is my second longest snake. This is my boa constrictor, Tony, chilling right back in there. Try to get him out. Boa constrictor, it's a hypo. I think that stands for, I don't know if that means hypomelanistic or what. It's, again, it's in the genes, but makes him look a little bit more reddish orangish, especially on the tail. He's about 6 feet long. These boa constrictors come from Central and South America. They are also live birth givers, I guess you could say. They don't lay eggs. They bird their babies out straight from the cloaca. Super calm, I've never heard him hiss. Doesn't really like to be taken out of his cage, but once he's out, he's totally great. Last but not least is Ozzy, my olive python. Again, another Australian species. This guy is probably my favorite of all the snakes because he's always out, usually active, likes to climb, and also looks unique compared to all my other snakes because he's patternless. So this is my longest snake that I've got. About 7 feet long, always active, always wanting to move around. This guy's one of my favorites. Again, I love how patternless he looks. Looks great in sunlight, but you can really see kind of almost a little bit of rainbow. He's a great climber. But yes, these guys come from northern Australia, for sure. I don't know if they're in more places in Australia or not. But in the wild, these guys will eat, again, anything that they can get. They get a lot bigger than this guy. He's a male, so they don't get quite as big and stinks. Usually it's the females that are bigger since they have to carry the eggs or the babies. But these guys will eat freshwater crocodiles. They'll eat, I believe, wallabies if they can catch them. Last but not least, this is my most savage pet here. This is Doobie. He's an American bully. He's 4 years old, and he sleeps in bed with me. He's just a little guy, just a baby boy. And he gets to sit next to me when I play video games and snuggle on the couch. And he's looking a little camera shy right now. Well, thanks for tuning in and checking out my man cave / jungle / reptile room / gaming place. But I've got more important things to do now, so goodbye.